Good to see you here this morning, a full house. Before we get going, we want to thank some special people who are here this morning who have made our rainy day morning a whole lot better. And that is the Mobile Alumni Chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. They brought our breakfast out here. The members of the Social Action Committee are here, and we just appreciate all of you for the service that you provide to our community. Continue. Stand up. Everybody's wearing the red jackets, so you can't miss them. So Lisa, stand. Everybody who is a member, please stand so we can recognize you. Thank you again. And they said they are not going to pack it up just yet, so we have another opportunity for round two. Thank you. CJ is traveling. He should be here for the regular meeting. So we'll just continue right now without him. Lisa, if you'll go ahead.
This is the pre-meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, March the 28th. We have approval of minutes from March 21st.
Everybody good? Okay.
Appeals, we have requests for waiver of the noise ordinance on April the 8th from 4 p.m. until 9 p.m. on Japonica Avenue. April 29th from 6:30 to 11 at the Bragg Mitchell Mansion. April 2nd from 7 a.m. until 11 in Mardi Gras Park. April the 8th in Lions Park from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. And April 8th in Cooper Riverside Park from 11 a.m. until 3:30. April 29th from 12 p.m. until 4 p.m. Cooper Riverside Park. And May 11th from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. in Arlington Park.
Everybody good with these?
Yeah, no issues in District 1.
Okay, William, you good? All right.
Public hearings. Today is a public hearing to rezone property located at 6815 Cary Hamilton Road from RA to I-1.
Mr. Reynolds, all good?
Public hearing to amend Appendix A Downtown Development District of the Unified Development Code, Chapter 64, the Mobile City Code 2022.
Okay, where are we on this? You good?
This is for the UDC and the DDD. It's for the Home Press Register building. What they're doing is changing the special district to special warehouse district, which is a transit code already within the DDD. And there's a little small slither of a section on the end of that. This is the first step that needs to take place before next week. Next week, I believe we'll be handling all of it at one time. So this is just a
And I
simple-
see Jay Watkins in the back. Jay, anything you want to add to this?
Just was here to answer questions.
Anybody have questions? All good? All right.
Public hearing. Today is a public hearing to declare the structures at 1017 Donald Street, 1852 Mott Street South, 301 North Ann Street, 1003 B Houston Street, 4019 Tulsa Drive, 2077 Victory Drive West, 5651 Stegall Street. And today is a public hearing to fix the cost for demolition of structures at 2775 Spring Hill Avenue, also known as 2773 Spring Hill Avenue.
Okay, any questions on these? Anybody in the various districts? All right.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Dr. Roxanne Hannon Odom. She's providing information on Mobile Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, its contributions to the community. Derek Payne requesting the status of repairing the fields at Heroes Park. Creola Ruffin, concerns about holding the Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival at Cooper Riverside Park this year. Reverend David Edwards presents the pros and cons of annexation. Reverend Bobby Brown requests clarification on the council and mayor's intentions regarding annexation. Beverly Cooper has canceled. She will not be here today. Kyle Bedwell, worried about important land being developed into storage unit developments and the future of land use map.
Before we go any further, question for the administration. I know that we were all told that the PFM study was delayed because of COVID. Do we have a update?
Yeah, I spoke with a lady named Danielle Scott. The guy that is out with COVID is improving, is all she could really say, but we'll have it within the next day or two.
In the next day or two, you'll have it.
That's what she told me yesterday. They called back with one more question yesterday afternoon. They got a big hamburger, just had the traffic signal maintenance in the area. So we'll get them that information this morning. Which we can get that's the last question.
So it's safe to stick to the early April schedule?
Right now, it's April 11th. I was going to give it to CJ and see if the council wants to maybe call for a special meeting because there's a conflict with the mayor's office on April 11th.
I was thinking the 4th.
Well, the 4th, we've got Vince Thompson coming in from Civic Center.
As far as committee meetings go, correct? That's what you're talking about?
Can we push
I
that?
didn't know that was committee meeting. I thought those were separate meetings based on what we would like them to propose to do. The earlier the better.
I agree with you.
Don't y'all agree?
Well, what we were looking at doing, let's go back and remind ourselves where we are on this. We were talking, yes, we need to be reminded of what we're doing here instead of having just an ongoing conversation that everybody's not quite up to speed on. So April 4th or whenever we were looking at doing a committee meeting to go over the results of committee of the whole to discuss the results of the study, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so since the findings are held up a little bit because of COVID and other things, and we have the Civic Center presentation coming in on the 4th, that's looking like the April 4th may not be a good day to do this. Or maybe we could find another day during the week that everybody can come in. I mean,
If y'all
Tuesdays are not
prefer, we
the,
can talk to PFM about, that was the date they gave us, but we can talk to them about coming in April 4th and we can reset the Civic Center presentation to y'all.
That sounds like the right answer.
can we,
I
can
think
we
this is a
reset
lot
the
more
Civic Center
priority.
presentation?
I'll
since
step
that had
out.
already-
Just one question. I'm sorry, Gina.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to make sure because we had set this up with the folks from the Civic Center. They were going to come into town and present all this to us, correct?
That's correct.
If you can reset it and reschedule without a lot of trouble, maybe we can do that, or do them back to back some way, or find another day during the week. I mean, nothing says we have to do them on Tuesdays.
To do on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I was under the impression when we talked that the Civic Center presentation were individual, a few at a time.
That's right. It starts at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 2 o'clock, I believe. There's three
And they're-
different
and they're on the
meetings.
same day, correct?
That's all on April 4th.
So, and this is just to discuss possibility, correct?
That's right.
So there's a disclosure issue here if we were to try to do it in committee form.
We wanted y'all to be able to talk directly with, we've got somebody that we think will help with sponsorship, private monies. And so we wanted y'all to meet them, be able to vet them and be able to ask questions.
Is this something we need to talk about away from this right now, or can it be discussed? I don't have a problem if we do it in committee form and we ask whatever questions we want, if we can get enough information ahead of time from the individual that's doing the presentation. You've heard me say 100 times that I'd love to have somebody come in and come with a concept where they could renovate it, and for the renovation costs, take name or ownership of the auditorium until such time that we can get it back. I think that's fine with me. But I don't know if it's fine with the rest of the council to have an open discussion with everybody at one time on it. I mean, I don't think, if it's a good idea, I
It's
don't
the
know
best
how
way,
much
Ricardo.
pushback you're gonna get some.
So the reason for the one-on-ones is because we're not there yet. We're not that far along. We wanted to get you all's input on where this goes and how it goes. And that's why we having the individual meetings. It's probably better to do the individual meetings there because we're not at a point where we can walk
That
along.
was my question.
Yeah, we'll need your input.
Okay, Joel,
So the larger question would be the PFM, and I need a little direction from the council so I can be working with them.
Move forward.
well, hang on. Joel,
Well, my suggestion would be, and I know we got a lot of people with day jobs on this council, but my suggestion would be that we leave the Civic Center thing for Tuesday afternoon and have the committee as a whole meeting on the PFM study Wednesday morning, first thing.
Can't do Wednesday morning,
What time Wednesday can you do?
afternoon.
I'm
After
fine.
3.
Wednesday afternoon works for you,
Um,
and that would be next week,
The 5th.
That's fine. Next
the
week.
5th?
Yeah.
Well, we've got to make sure that
Now, the next question is, what about the administration?
What time? Like when you say afternoon, what?
3 o'clock.
Yeah. That's a conflict.
Can we do it in the evening?
About Thursday.
Thursday, next week. Y'all check your calendars.
Thursday, I think.
This may be something that we have to look and come back and
Oh,
figure out the date.
Now that I think about it, we also, because it's gonna be a committee meeting, the public's gonna wanna know too. They're gonna want ample notification.
Yes.
So we decide today, then it'll be ample notification.
How about, I'll step out and call PFM. A lot of this depends on when they're capable of traveling here.
Why don't you get several dates on when they can be here other than April 4th? And see what we can make work.
Okay, let me do that, and
Okay.
that may help steer this. Okay.
Yeah, okay. At least if you can just help us with getting all that together.
So you, Mr. Chairman.
Huh?
Ordinance is held over.
Thank you. I will proceed. Yes, Lisa.
Ordinance is held over. 88014, authorize the conveyance of city-owned property located at 2451 Fillingham Street, not now needed for public or municipal purposes.
Any questions about this piece of property?
Consent resolutions held over. 31300, authorized grant application to U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance for the fiscal year 23 Connect and Protect Law Enforcement Behavioral Health Response Program.
Bob, is there any impact if I hold this over one more week? I'm waiting on some information to come in that I don't have where I can make a decision on this yet. Is that going to impact this grant? Do we know? Okay.
Director,
Can
do
we,
you have any input?
We still have time. I mean, if we hold out 4 more.
okay. Yeah, I just got one piece of information I need to find out.
Everybody good with laying over another week?
I don't really have any objection to it, but I just, what I read here is that this is a law enforcement behavioral health response grant for 36 months for $550,000. And then what I read here is Alta Point's going to put up the match, the accelerated match on this of a total not to exceed $283,000.
That's not, my issue concerns with the mechanics of how this gets executed and what laws are currently in place and legal issues there are with executing this grant proposal in reality. And until I get that answer, I can't even speak to whether it's something that makes sense or not.
Director, I was going to ask if you could shed some light on this and possibly some of our legal folks with the city, since obviously the city is heavily involved.
So currently this grant, this is an extension of a current grant that we have that deals with us having clinicians working with law enforcement and having a co-response ability within the Mobile Police Department. This grant allows for the hiring of 2 additional clinicians. Currently, there are only 2 clinicians, the hiring of 2 additional clinicians, and also purchasing of iPads that the officers will have so that when they respond in the field, if there's not a clinician available to respond with them, that they're able to input the data into the iPads, and the clinicians back at the center are able to look at the information and provide some guidance to the officers out in the field.
So here's where I have a question. Let's say that the person that they have in front of them has mental health issues. My understanding right now is there is nothing in place to force that individual to go to the mental health care facility. That's only voluntary on behalf of the person there. Is that correct?
That is true. I mean, the law provides that, once a person reached the age of adulthood, absent of them harming themselves or harming others, their commitment is voluntary. And so should they refuse to go seek additional assistance, by law, we're bound to allow them to stay where they are. Again, unless they're showing signs of harming themselves or harming others. I mean, speaking in tongue is not necessarily a sign of harming yourself or harming others. So we have to make sure we abide by the law. And I don't know that Alta Point nor we can change that. That has to be changed through legislation.
Totally understand.
Yes, sir.
The second thing is, don't we have some type of program in place over the last 6 months to a year or so that's been doing this? And do we have any quantifiable facts of what type of results that we've achieved from this?
So from a data standpoint, I don't have that available to you
That's-
for you right
that's
now.
what I'm
I could
waiting on.
potentially get that for you. But the reality of it is from what I've heard and seen in the field, that the officers are truly grateful for to have this as a tool to work with. It just gives us an additional tool to assist without overcrowding our jails in many cases and addressing some of the issues involving mental health within our community. So I'll reach out and try to get some additional data and get you some numbers.
And I'll say the concern I've heard counter to that by some of the officers is they try and get help for these and they get turned away, or they can't take them where they need to be, and they're left on the streets to get arrested later. And I've heard that quite a bit. So it's something that I think we definitely need to look at. It's a problem. And I think it needs resolution. I just don't know if the way that we have this structured right now is really going to move us forward until we get some type of legislative help. And I don't know if we don't have the cart before the horse at this point. But
My only counter to that would be is that by not, expanding our ability to be able to do it, we do our community a disservice, because we do have a tool that we can currently use. And I think by the ability to expand that and give the officers another tool to get that information to somebody that can help them. Again, the laws of this state, we don't create, we follow them. And we would just ask that, some assistance for creating legislation around addressing some of those concerns as well.
Okay, if the council agrees to lay this over a week or vote on it, whatever the will of the council is, I haven't heard anything different at this point. But if it is held over for 1 week, Chief, would y'all make sure to bring in some statistics on the program, how it has been working in the past? I remember we did a tour and this was a subject that came up and we were presented some information, and there were several officers who were there at the time. So I think maybe more information would be appropriate. But again, will of the council, y'all want to hold this over a week, get some more information? Are you ready to vote today? Up to
Nah.
you.
I had a question,
Okay. go ahead.
Councilman Jones. What is the hindrance of the grant? Because I know you said you was waiting on some information and hearing from. What is the hindrance of having this
It's
grant?
just fun how does this really look when it's executed? Are we really going to see an impact on the street in our police officers? And I think, again, it's what I'd like, because I'm hearing two sides of a coin from the police officers, and there's some good and there's some bad. And, the other thing that, to be totally transparent, y'all know this, I have a huge issue when I keep hearing the abuse cases over and over and over and over again of Alta Point. And look, that's factual. This isn't Scott Jones make-believe stuff.
I'm
And-
going
and-
to,
and-
Scott, excuse me a
and
minute.
when-
Understand
no,
you have the floor,
I've
but
got
let
the
me just
floor.
say something here. We are looking specifically at the grant today.
And I know.
And I would appreciate if we could kind of stay on topic and
Well,
not get into another
This is
debate.
exactly on topic, because this money is going to Alta Point. And when we have problems with an institution that is causing issues in this city, and giving that institution $550,000 more is a problem. And
Okay,
we'll-
if we can please stay on topic with this.
That is
particular-
exactly on
Mr.
topic.
Jones, that's enough.
Where's this money going?
We are looking at this. We have talked about laying it over to get more information. The chief has agreed. If you all agree to lay this over a week, we can get more information. Or if you want to vote today, up to you guys. What do you want to do? Joel?
I think if Mr. Jones is determined to vote against it, no matter what happens, then we just go ahead and vote today.
It's not what I said at all. You're putting words in my mouth.
Correct.
I said I
Mr.
wanted to see factual data.
Okay, Mr.
Now-
Penn?
I mean, he answered the question. I mean, I just wanted to hear exactly what was the reason for holding over. He said he wanted to get some more information,
Okay.
If he would like to wait a week, they say it's no issues. I'm fine with waiting a week to vote on it if it's not gonna cause a problem.
All right. Everybody good with that? Okay. 1 week.
I will say in this week's time, I hope Mr. Jones does uncover some additional information that'll be helpful for us to move forward with it. Okay, thank you. I understand.
03339, concur in the reappointment of Mary Stewart Nelson to Alta Point Health Systems, Inc. Board.
Madam Vice President, I'm going to move to table this and just lay some background. The 310 board 20 years ago was made up of entities from different mental health organizations throughout the city. And over time, as companies either merged or fell by the wayside, it became an Alta Point board, period. And they've even changed the name to the Alta Point Mental Health Board. The problem is that, and I was at the board meeting, the annual board meeting on Thursday. Again, we've got some very serious issues that arise from that organization, that institution. I've got an executive board member from another mental health professional who says this in an email to me last night. I would imagine that the proposed appointee has been handpicked by the CEO, which is exactly what has happened is the letter that we received. So no accountability or transparency going forward from those that are appointed. And I will tell you from sitting in the annual board meeting on Thursday, that's exactly what is happening. And we talk about the abuses that happen. I got another email after this was in the news Thursday night, Friday, from a mom who had her 8-year-old son, took him to a Bay Point facility at 8 a.m. or 4 a.m. on January the 8th. He was not given a bed. He had to take a cold shower. He was not fed, medicated. She received a call the next morning. He was unconscious because of low blood sugar. When she pressed for answers, she got nothing. Over and over and over again. And again, I'm getting 2 to 3 of these emails a week. When I presented this to the board, I had one board member respond with concerns. One. That board meeting, there was not any financial data presented at an annual board meeting. We need a board that is going to be morally, ethically, and professional in how they carry out their duties and responsibilities, which is exactly what I told them on Thursday. It's not happening. The board appointees is our responsibility. This city council by law, and don't sit here and shake your head no, because I guarantee you it is. And the only 2 requirements for a board member is that they live in the county or the city that they're appointed in and that they have the qualifications. The person that I'm putting on the table for this city council to recommend is Chandra Brown. And I would submit to you that there is not another person in this region that is more well-respected and has more experience in this area than Chandra. And she has agreed to serve. We've got to get back to the point in time where we have external mental health experts that are sitting on this board, because the purpose of this board is to provide strategic initiative and vision in executing the mental health issues in this region. And I am not going to sit here any longer and pretend like those issues don't exist. And I've had people tell me that, oh, you're going to be legally responsible. I know that. And there is nothing that I've said in any point in time that is not backed up with facts. These facts have been presented before a judge and a jury, and I would more than willing be able to stand up personally in front of a judge. It's time for this body, all of us, to do the right thing.
Mr. Carroll, go ahead.
Mr. Linder, just a question. It was just stated that the council is responsible for the Alta Point Board. Is that a correct statement?
The council is responsible for appointing the 3 board members it is entitled to appoint under state law and by Alta Point's governing documents.
So we're not responsible for the board as a whole.
That is correct. You're responsible. This council is responsible for the 3 board members it appoints.
Who does the Alta Point Board report to? Do we know that?
I mean, there are state law reporting requirements and whatnot, but ultimately the board, I mean, it's more a question of the board who reports to that board.
Correct. So again, we only have responsibility for appointing 3 people to that board. And if I remember right, does the statute state that the recommendations for appointment come from the staff, or does it come to us for recommendation? How is that held up?
I don't believe the state statute says that. Alta Point's organization documents say that Alta Point shall offer a nominee. That doesn't mean the council has to accept the nominee, but Alta Point does have to offer the council one.
The statute actually reads, I'm sorry, the Articles of Incorporation actually read, at the time any vacancy occurs, the board shall recommend to the appropriate governing authority a candidate for the appointment. It does not say that the council shall recommend. It says that the board shall recommend. Let me issue that. If nobody else has it, I'd like all the council members to see that too.
No, and I sent that around to everybody yesterday.
Thank you.
But that is correct. The Alta Point board has to give you a nominee. However, it's ultimately this council's decision as to who to appoint, subject to them being a bona fide resident of the city of Mobile.
So again, to reiterate,
one question to Councilman Jones. You keep saying we. Who is we when you're referencing responsibility?
this city council, and you, let me answer. You asked a question, let me answer it. When I sit here numerous times and lay out facts of abuse that have happened at that facility over and over and over and over, and I could keep going with overs. And these are by parents and brothers and grandparents. This is not second or third hand information. We as elected officials have a duty and a responsibility to act. Mm-hmm. And that duty and responsibility action is to make sure that the moral and ethical and professional responsibility of the board that we appoint is executed. And we do have the responsibility when we appoint somebody and we know that there are issues to the tune of a $7 million judgment that taxpayers are now going to have to pay for a judgment for abuse and the abuses that happened, that was deemed guilty by a judge and a jury. And that's one case, and there's more coming. There's more coming. We have a responsibility as a city council to fix what is broken.
So the next question is, and I just wanted to ask this based on the statements I've heard. So are you saying that the current appointee that sits in one of the 3 spots is morally, ethically, and whatever the other word was, irresponsible to the board of directors that she's serving on, and deserves to be put off because you found her unable to serve in the capacity of a board member?
I'll ask a question with a question. If you're sitting on that board and a member of this city council presented facts to you in evidence, and you asked for an investigation to clear up the problems, and you were ignored, is that not a dereliction of duty? Is that not a denial of your moral, ethical, and professional responsibilities? I say it is. And not once have anybody on that board, except one person that's not from this region, ever stood up and said that we're wrong and that we need to fix this. And until such time as these, it's not allegations, it's proof. It's proof. And we, this body, are responsible. Then yes, we are absolutely wrong in not taking action?
Miss
One more, Mr.
President,
Carroll, and we need to move
no
on.
more questions here.
Okay.
I think I'm satisfied with the position I'm going to take here in that I keep hearing we. I'm a member of the council also. I haven't voted to take any action against Alta Point. At this time, I'm not going to take or vote to take any action against Alta Point. And I think that it takes a vote of 5 to declare any type of investigation into any entity and to call for an investigation into Alta Point this time, I think would be somewhat inappropriate when we only control the 3 people that sit on the board of directors. So if you would please refrain from saying we and use your office and say I or my office so that you don't include me in those statements, please.
When
The
it comes
item- The
to,
item on the agenda today is an appointment, so you can vote up or down on the appointment either way. There's nothing else on the agenda today pertaining to the board, so let's move on.
CIP resolutions held over 21-323, authorized contract with Watermark Design Group for design of the new Tomanville Fire Station.
William?
I'm okay with this. I really don't want to spend it from my personal CIP, but as I was so kindly reminded by Shonda and everybody else that was in that meeting, that
A gentle reminder. was
that
had?
I
Okay.
did agree to pay for the drawing. So I'm sorry that I told you last week I wouldn't do it, but because I said I would, I'm definitely going to do it. I do not go back on my word. So again, I'm sorry, but I would rather see that come from somewhere else. Maybe y'all can make it up to me in the tune of $160,000 somewhere else, right?
And then all the other council members get in line and say, yes, we want that makeup funding as well. All right, thank you.
Resolutions held over 01-324, authorized agreement with Kenny Hussey to provide racket stringer services for Parks and Recreation Department. 01-325, authorized agreement with Dustin Scott to provide racket stringer services for Parks and Recreation Department. 083.
Madam President, Vice
And
President.
Mr. Reynolds?
There'll be an amendment for 01-325. It's minor in nature. It's just the resolution had the wrong dollar amount on it.
Oh,
That
okay.
didn't match the contract, so I'll offer that up. It's on file with the clerk's office.
All right.
08326, approved purchase order to CDW Government for annual renewal of Microsoft Windows licenses. 08327 is approving purchase order to CDW Government for annual renewal of Microsoft 365 licenses. 08328, approved purchase order to Safeware for hazmat detection devices and monitors for mobile fire and rescue. 08325, approved purchase order to Stivers Ford Lincoln for Ford Super Crew pickup trucks. 09330, reallocate funds from capital project engineering right-of-way and testing to Grant Fund USA special event traffic plan to develop special events traffic plans for city streets. 21331, authorized contract with the Medina Group Consulting for implementation of a regional recycling education and marketing program. 21332, authorized contract with Roland Construction for soft wash of the exterior of Arthur R. Outlaw Convention Center. 21333, authorized contract with Howard Technology Solutions for cybersecurity services. 37334, consider a certificate of public convenience and necessity to Lee Anthony Clark to operate a shuttle service. 45335, accept Lighten Place Drive of Lighten Village for city maintenance. 6336, authorized settlement agreement and release of claims. Ordinances being introduced, 64015 is the DDD. 64016 is the rezoning on Cary Hamilton Road. 34017, ordinance to levy taxes for tax year beginning October 1 and for successive years on all real and personal property and intangibles located in the certain areas within the corporate limits of City of Mobile to accept from such taxes other areas within the corporate limits of the City of Mobile. This is the
Question.
annual ad valorem.
William?
Yeah.
All right. So this is the same thing year after year after year.
Yes.
Yes.
I was trying to, when I was going through the legal descriptions, I was trying to map out in my mind where we were. So is this just the whole boundaries of the city?
Yes, none of the, there have been no changes.
No changes?
Yes.
Okay.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03-340 and 341 are appointing Bill Adgerton to the Mobile Museum of Art Board and John Williams to the Water and Sewer Board of Commissioners.
I don't know about that John Williams guy.
Yeah, that second one appointed.
That second one may be trouble.
Fine man. The 03-341, that's effective April 1st.
April 1st.
Who is he replacing?
Kenny Nichols.
37-342, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a lounge retail liquor Class 1 license to Buddy B Hookah and Ice Bar Lounge on US Highway 90. 43, 43, 344, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49 are declaring the structures public nuisances and ordering them demolished. 40, 350 is fixing the cost for the demolition of structures on Spring Hill Avenue. 58, 351 assess cost for removal of weeds, Wheatland Group 1636. 60, 352, and 352, approval water special bonus to administrative services employee of the month. 60, 353, 354, 55, 56, 57, and 58 are determining appropriations to Bay Area Women's Coalition, Inc., Trinity Gardens Falcons Athletics, Main Street Mobile, Inc., Casa Mobile, Inc., Historic Mobile Preservation Society, and the Pack Theater Company Foundation serves a public purpose and approved payment. Resolutions.
Hey,
being-
hang on a second.
Yeah, Barry?
Being that we're tearing down the house at 301 North Ann Street, there is a traffic circle in the middle of that street right there that is in such disrepair. And the Franklin House just finished. It's about to open. Is there a way we could vacate that traffic circle and let the Dora Franklin Finley African American Heritage Trail maintain that, keep it up, so that it gives it a better entrance into the Franklin House right there? It's right there in that traffic circle just past the church going north. Is there a way we can do that? I mean, it's just a empty grass in there and it's a mess. But if we had somebody to maintain it, entering that house, it would really do us some justice right there.
Yes. So you don't have to make it, but yes, you
Right.
can.
Yeah.
And yes, the answer to your question.
So do we have to do it in resolution form, or do we, okay, can we add that? Can we add that next one?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but is this, are you talking about a piece of city right away?
Yes, it's in the street, in the
Well,
center of the street.
We have, there are other areas of the city where private entities are maintaining medians. So this would be, seems like to me, it'd be similar to that arrangement.
Yeah. A resolution to the entity to take care of
But
it.
in those instances, Councilwoman Gregory and I are funding the maintenance costs out of our CIP.
Yep.
So it's not a burden on the private nonprofit entity.
I actually have two that I'm doing. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and do it.
Madam Vice President,
Yes, sir.
did I understand you right that you're using capital dollars for operational?
No, I meant discretionary funds.
Discretionary.
Okay. All right.
Discretionary.
Thank you for catching that. Nothing escapes us.
Each little period and comma. Okay. Are we on resolutions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
As I'm looking at this, sorry, I'd like to hold this ABC lounge and retail liquor Class 1 license for 1 week, 37,342.
37,342.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The Buddy B Hookah.
Yep.
Okay.
Refuse unanimous consent.
It's gonna be, never mind.
Yeah, it's consent, so.
We'll just refuse unanimous
Yeah,
consent.
I got you. Just refuse it.
Well, I'll just call it out with the exception of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Resolutions being introduced, 08359, approved purchase orders for fuel for the Wave Transit. 08360, approved purchase order to Sunbelt Fire, Inc. for bunker gear for Mobile Fire and Rescue Department, $34,944. 08361, approved purchase order to Empire Truck Sales for 4 concrete trucks for public services maintenance, $150,500.
That's one concrete truck. It's a 4-yard concrete. It's a 4 cubic yard. It's just one truck, not 4 trucks.
Okay.
Why are we in the concrete business?
Public
We
Works.
have a very, very old concrete truck. Hardly works anymore, right? So we have to do minor concrete repairs. We need to have a concrete truck to be able to go.
Hell, we need more concrete trucks.
Trust me, we don't want
Just
that.
one truck, not
It's just
4.
one truck, it's a 4 cubic yard.
You don't have a small truck like that, and all you're fixing is a small sidewalk, and you have to buy the minimum amount that goes in a big truck.
Minimum amount is 5 yards now. That's why I asked.
But
Yeah.
you have to do that, you may not have 5 yards.
08362, approved purchase order to CDW Government LLC for annual renewal of NetMotion Network Mobility Software for MIT, $15,900. 08363, approved purchase order to Insight Public Sector for 65 EliteBook laptops for Mobile Police Department, $32,628.70. 08364, approved purchase order to Stark Motor Cars for 40 Chevrolet Tahoe Police Package SUVs for $2,359,400. 09365, allocate funds from Stormwater Fund to Capital Project Municipal Stormwater Fees Project for various projects, $2,726,000. 09366, allocate funds from Capital Improvement Reserve to Capital Project I-65 and I-10 lighting improvements, $500,000.
Madam Vice President,
Yes, sir.
we're moving this money for what? I mean, I see that it's for I-10 lighting improvements, but I thought that was funded with previous funds.
It was, and you see the item right after it, which is the change order for 422, which is the current changes that we had associated with that project, which has been about an 18-month project. Those were unforeseen transformer boxes, additional light poles and bases that had to be done when they were doing the work. And the delta between the 500 and the 422, we have to either, one, do the final closeout, because when they do the final closeout, there's a little bit that has to be made up, and or two, to spend on any spare parts and accessories that we need to be able to take care of afterwards.
While we're talking about this, Jim, if you're not prepared today, we understand, but if there's a way to get an update on where we are with replacing all of these LED lights. I know we were starting with the interstates and some of the busier traffic corridors because a lot of people within the neighborhoods are beginning to ask. And so if there's a way for us to get an update to let everybody know, when maybe their lights would be changed out.
Yeah, so just really broadly speaking and really quickly, we coordinated with Alabama Power about 2 years ago and entered into a contract where they replaced approximately 20,000 of their lights throughout the city. Those would be the lights that are on the wooden power poles. Mm-hmm. Those are maintained and operated by Alabama Power. Those have all been switched out with a few exceptions. There's a few areas that they had some challenges and some unique heads they had to switch out. But generally speaking, there's about 20,000 or so that have been replaced. We then have just recently effectively completed the interstate lights. That's I-10, I-65, and I-165 within the city limits. You can see them outside the window here. There's, I think the number, Jennifer, is probably how many on those interstate lights? 7. Yeah, about 5,000 lights. And that's what this money is to close out that portion of that project. So the only lights remaining are those that are the city-owned lights on the streets. Those would be on the metal poles throughout the city. And there's roughly 14, how many thousand on the city-owned? 10 or 11? Yeah, about 10 or 11,000 of those. That's what I would say is phase 3, the final phase of then converting all the lights. It's probably in about the $2 to $3 million range to do those. And, currently based on other priorities, we haven't moved or asked for the money to do that yet. But that's the next phase. So we'll look at that and make a recommendation to the council on when you agree that, hey, we want to do that and do the third phase. But it's about a $3 million roughly price to do that.
Would we be prepared within the next budget cycle to do something like this?
We're prepared to do it. It's just a matter of priorities and where we want to spend the money.
within
That's
the
right.
budget
I mean, we've got a lot of competing demands for capital projects, and that's, although that's important, we really hit what we thought were the other ones that were the interstate lights being really important. We thought to get that done. And then it was relatively easy to coordinate with Alabama Power to do that portion. So this last phase, again, would be contracted, and it's just a matter of prioritizing that money on the other capital needs that we have.
And in the meantime, if somebody within a neighborhood calls about a street light being out, generally they are Alabama Power, but sometimes they're not. So is the city going to change out the lights if it is a city pole to whatever light is available, or would it be an LED light, or how will that happen?
Yeah, if a light's out and it's a city pole, we'll likely replace it with an LED light, unless we still have some inventory of the old ones that match. And so kind of, one for one in those, just obviously that reduces our energy cost and more reliable.
Okay. Ben, did you have something?
I did. I just regarding priority, I think this is a pretty high priority. I think, lighting, it seems so simple, and it is in a lot of ways, but it gets really to public safety and lighting up areas. It reduces, crime in areas. And I get calls routinely about people wanting to add lights. And that seems like a complicated process that I don't even truly understand, what it takes to get a light in place. But I think some or much of their concern can be mitigated by just replacing the lights that are there. So, I would, in my level of priority, I would put this up pretty high. So sooner rather than later, in my opinion, would be best.
Yeah, well, we got budget talks coming up very near future. So it
Well,
might be
based on
something
what
to-
I heard, it sounds like there's the money's already there to do the work, if I understood correctly.
Maybe.
It's just a matter of prioritizing that money, how we see fit. We've obviously got big projects, downtown and other areas where we're prioritizing money. If we can put this one up high on the list, I think it would be helpful to everyone.
Okay.
21367, authorized change order with Inline LLC for LED fixture replacements for interstate street lights, $422,149.15. 21368, authorized contract with Tetra Tech for disaster debris removal monitoring and consulting services.
Madam Vice President,
Mr. Reynolds?
I think 2 weeks ago, we approved a contract, 3-year contract with Tetra Tech and Thompson Engineering for this very service. So what happened? We got another one here? City Clerk.
As I understand it, because they were bundled in one item, one on the agenda, they wanted to have them split out individually for contractual reasons to show them individually. So they pulled this one out and set it aside and used the first one just for Thompson Engineering. So it's just cleaner that way, so they each know that they were individually passed.
Yeah.
So this is parallel contract?
It's the same thing. Yeah, they're parallel contracts between Thompson and Tetra Tech.
21369, authorized contract with Kimley Horn and Associates Inc. for engineering services for transportation planning study for game day and special events at the University of South Alabama, $199,909. 21370, authorized contract with Dell Consulting for electrical upgrades at Copeland Cox Tennis Center to $34,610. 25371, grant permanent and temporary easements to the Mobile Area Water and Sewer System for Slava Creek Trunk Sewer Upgrades. Call for public hearings. 41372, call for public hearing to consider approval of a certificate of public convenience and necessity to Comfort Transport LLC to operate a shuttle service scheduled April the 11th. Announcements.
Council? Go ahead.
Yeah, look, last week I asked that we get the street swept and all those leaves up because we had some issues with the older neighbors walking. Guys, you guys did a real good job and did it quickly. Got a lot of praise from this little 5 group of ladies that walk their dogs and walk every day. Really appreciate that. That's a huge bonus, especially from the group of ladies that do all that walking through Oakley, and also from others that have noticed it in the neighborhood. Got a lot of accolades at Callahan's on a Sunday. Everybody was talking about it. So again, that's great. I appreciate it. I've got, since people saw you do that, now they're asking from Catherine to the Loop. So, and that's on Government Street.
Good deed.
Yeah, but it's not the gutter. It's it's the S inlet. the, whatever y'all call it, the intake box. That's the right word for it. So the intake box is clogged up in a couple of places. When we get a chance, please check that. I know that we're milling the street and we're paving government. So when we get to the point that we can take care of that, let's please do that. And again, thank you. That was a big plus for the older seniors that walk every day.
And I have a request also coming up. Council members like to be given a heads up on when any sidewalk repair is coming up, streets are being resurfaced, that sort of thing. So if we can coordinate that through Keisha so that she can let us know, that would be great. Yeah, like when they're getting ready to come and do the work. Yeah. Okay, that would be great. Thanks. Jimmy, did you want to talk about?
Yeah, this is from PFM. They'll have your report so that you can read ahead of any meeting. The main guy is out with COVID until the end of the week, and it's Passover next week. So beginning Thursday, April the 7th, Thursday, April 6th, Friday, April 7th, or Tuesday, April 11th. They've given those 3 dates.
Any time during those days?
They just threw all 3 dates.
This is PFM.
This PFL.
Why don't we go back and look at our calendars and get with Lisa and then we'll coordinate with her.
If the chair doesn't mind, I mean, if it's going to be that late in the week, there's nothing we can do between Thursday and the following Tuesday anyway. It's up to you guys.
Well, I think everybody needs to look at their calendar. Let's just get a date. It's looking like it may be
The 11th.
And again, from the administrative side, we prefer not to do it on the 11th because many of the mayor's administration will not be here.
Why?
Be in Montgomery. Big Ten Alabama mayor's meeting.
Did you say that the 6th was a date?
6th, the 7th, or the preferable dates that we have.
The 6th is a Thursday, the 7th is Friday.
That's correct.
Good Friday.
It's Good Friday.
It's Good Friday, Holy Thursday. That's why I said just let it go to next week. We could do it Monday.
Can we do it Monday, the 10th?
I'll check back with them. We'll try again.
Let's just coordinate with Lisa. and
So
see if
just-
we can-
Does Monday
just
work
a-
for the administration?
Monday would work for us.
Because y'all will be gone that Tuesday.
Tuesday's when we leave.
It's just a bad week, man. I'm sorry.
I'm available any of these days.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Okay, that takes care of it.
Well, I mean, it's an important enough issue that, you know, I'm available.
We'll certainly do all we can.
Your kid's go to St. Dominic's, right? So I take it you don't go to Station
Reminder
Cross.
after the council meeting, sorry. A reminder after the council meeting today, we do have a committee of the whole to discuss council rules. So if everybody would come on upstairs afterwards, we have lunch, I guess. Yeah. And we can get through that. Any other announcements? Any other?
Yeah, hey, go ahead and put through 31,300 for a vote. 'Cause nobody cares about mental health anyway.
I object to that. I object to that. I object to that. I object to that accusation.
That's not an accusation.
All right, duly noted. Anybody else? All right, we're adjourned.
Actions speak louder than words. Y'all been very clear. Got an opportunity to put one of the most experienced professional people on the board.